Call this meeting to order. Freddie, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show all council members are present and we do have a quorum. We'd like to invite those of you that would like to join me in an opening prayer. Heavenly Father, I thank for having this privilege of serving our town of Shoshoni. I pray, Father, that as we discuss our agenda and craft policies for our town, we'll always put the people's interest above our own. Remind us, Father, that we are in this position not to be served, but to serve the public, just as Christ, who is King, came not to be served, but to serve, and ultimately die on the cross to save us. Also pray, Father, that we will uphold what is moral and rational. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move we approve the agenda.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler. We approve the agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Nordine. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. Do we have any communication from citizens?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Freddie Ellis, and I have bad news. The Lander Community Veterans Center is now closed because I can't say too much more about it because it is still under investigation. But let's just say the operators there are in some very serious dookie, shall we say. So being a board member, we had to close it to protect the citizens, to protect the veterans. The good news is we are looking at 2 or 3 places in Riverton, and we thought about keeping it in Lander, but we decided Riverton's better because it's more centralized. There's more people, and in Riverton, it's close to the reservation. So as soon as I get more information, I will share it. So, but as for now, we have no veterans center. So, but soon, hopefully, I'm hoping.
I appreciate the information. We wish you nothing but the best. And
Oh, thank you. And I was just wondering, once we open up, we don't know if we're gonna open up under our own 501c3 or if we're gonna be under anybody else's. It's kind of a up in the air thing right now. But I was just wondering if the city council here, if possible, if we could maybe ask for a donation of, a property or cash or whatever, I mean, anything to help out the veterans. So, just
property like you're gonna locate in Riverton, though not Shoshone, correct?
right. Or maybe there's also talk about us opening a program of veterans talking to veterans. Basically, it's a suicide prevention
Yeah,
kind of
I'm
thing.
aware of it.
So you're
Very much
aware of it?
aware of it, yes.
So I'm trying to get into that. We're trying to reopen it, reopen the Veterans Center and incorporate that into our teachings. So
We are limited on what, as municipality, what we can do on that. There's, but I know we support you. I mean, we are limited on what we are
oh, sure,
by
yeah.
law, what we can do.
Right. Understood. But yeah, just thought I might want to put that out and let you
Right.
guys,
And
you know.
we had to figure out a way to like help fund the senior party,
Mhm.
because we can't do it with city taxpayers' funds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, right. All right, well, thank you very much.
Very good, thank you. Or prom party, I think is what it was. Any more communications from citizens?
I figured this was gonna be too tall for me. Mayor, council, my name's Catherine DeWitt, and I kind of giggling while I was sitting there, because when I was on the council, I always kind of complained that the only time you actually see some of the citizens is when they have a complaint. And here I am with a complaint. So anyways, I am a little disappointed in the building permit that you guys approved on your February 11th meeting. You allowed a trailer that is well over 40 years old to be moved onto 6th Street, and it just blows my mind. Here you guys talk about cleaning up the town, you want new people to come here, and then you allow stuff like this. You know, I remember when I complained the last time, and I have an email to share with you guys about that. I don't have an email for everyone, but anyway. And I complained about that. There was a trailer that was not in good condition. It was over 40 years old. And I sent a complaint to the council, and I received a response from Chris. And you'll notice, actually, you guys should call my copies. He spoke, can I say that for a second? Sorry. So my complaint was that, you know, a lot of people thought we were foolish to put our trailer, because we actually have a trailer on the corner of 6th Street in Wyoming. A nice trailer. It was a rundown piece of property. We tore all the trees out. We reseeded. We built a sprinkler system this last summer. We put a nice trailer in there. You know, the trailers on the west side are in better shape. Everything else on the other side is kind of crappy. And so, but we were hoping, thinking maybe, you know, people would actually start taking pride in their property and stuff. And so a lot of people say, well, it's kind of a bad place to live. Nobody that I speak to even want to come over here because of stuff like that. And you talk about cleaning up the town, you want people to build on these properties. Who wants to spill in $500,000 on a new house when they don't know if you guys are going to hold true to your permits and your ordinances to make sure that everyone has something to gain, you know? So even Chris Panigi said that I was talking about, do you guys even still have your master plan? Do you guys still follow your master plan? It was approved back in 2021.
Yes.
It's on our website as well.
Well, allowing stuff like that is not following the plan. You know, that's one of the issues. And this grandfathering thing, because it was moving from one place to another, that doesn't pertain. The item moved. Grandfathering is no longer even in the picture. It shouldn't have been in the picture. And now I've got two pieces of crap over there to look at. And it just irritates me. And even he said that also the zoning workshop previously held discussed those very issues, amending zoning ordinances to prevent old trailers from being moved in, as well as mobile homes that are being moved out, being replaced by only new fixed structures where zoned or permitted only new modern mobile homes. That is not new. And it looks like crap. And none of you guys have to worry about it because you don't live by it. But I have to look at it. And it's annoying. Thank you.
Councilman, woman, Catherine, I'd like to respond just briefly to that. Well, no, you can stay down there. You don't have to come back up, but I would, just in case you wanted to respond to my response, we'll try to keep it short and what? Yeah, for most of what you said, I agree. But we gotta follow our ordinances and we don't have our ordinances changed to prevent that type of move. I really would like to see nothing over 20 years old moved into this community at the
And you
most.
had spoke of that,
And,
and you don't even follow it.
but it has to be zoned. We gotta follow our zoning laws and our ordinance on the book. You know, that's what we're up against and I personally would prefer not to allow that, but our zoning laws, and we're working on changing them. We've been working on, but you gotta go through and then you gotta go through the hearings and everything to get this year. I hope we'll have a whole bunch of we did hire a consultant. We had we got our master plan and then we hired a consultant to help us with our zoning. And then that company got sold out in the middle of that and that sort of slowed us up. Yeah. But
Nobody's gonna have faith in you if you guys aren't
I'm
doing a
confused,
better
Doc.
job. You're just not doing a very good job.
Can I ask you where you live? I don't know where you live. I'm confused.
Where do I live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What am I talking
On
about?
Terry Street,
On which one?
on Terry Lane,
I don't know.
on the
Terry very
outskirts
well.
of town, by the Baptist church.
This property you
Okay,
have
off onto the side.
is a secondary property, which at one point.
Yes.
I'm understanding, right? You-
Yes, my daughter was living in,
Right.
in the
Well,
place, yes.
I'm not, obviously, the council reviews those, but specifically to your point, we have taken steps to address those. We've denied numerous permits for trailers to move in here. One was illegally moved in that I'm working with Marshall Keller that we are having to abate at the town's cost because they moved it in here illegally. So we are taking action to clean up those things and deal with those. Obviously, things that come before council that are looked at on a case-by-case basis, this being one of them. They came to the council meeting, explained to council, and the council agreed on this one specific case. I can point to you numerous cases where exactly what you're saying was followed through and prevented. And was not allowed to be moved into town. And the ones that were moved in here illegally.
I
are
just like
being-
to know what law you guys are talking about, why.
We're
was this
talking
even-
excuse me.
What?
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just wondering, because you guys are talking about that you had to allow this to go through. So what exactly are we talking about now?
I will gladly give you my point of view and how I vote. I voted off of the town ordinances that are currently in place. There is obviously action in place to change those ordinances. But this trailer was on Fifth Street already,
Right,
and so they asked if we could move it to Sixth Street because the property had sold. And the people that the property sold to asked for the trailers that were on that property to be moved.
But that wasn't a variance. That was actually following
So
our,
they- So they moved it to Sixth Street. and
so
we approved
why don't
it.
you move it out of town, because it's not acceptable. I just don't
Because it was
understand
already-
why,
It was already.
why we had to, you guys had to approve that.
already
mean-
In town, a block over.
Are there any stipulations he has to fix it up, make it look a little better? Did anyone check the electrical? You know, when I had to do my building permit, I had to submit all these pictures. I know several people around town,
I had
when they
do that
wanted to
when I
move
voted.
their trailers someplace else, you guys requested their electrical to be checked.
I had to do that, and that was
So-
questions I brought
And you
up.
guys wrote off on it, and you just, okay.
I didn't.
And then we're just gonna,
Those are questions I brought up because I brought up the same questions of when I moved my trailer in. Which your husband came over with Charlie and inspected my electrical,
right,
and
and
I had to do all those things, so those are questions I asked as well. Just so we're on the same page, those were all things that were concerns of mine.
Like I said, you guys got to do
Well,
better. You want
Marshall,
people to come to
could
this
you
town
address
and
our
build houses.
city
Nobody
or
wants
town
to deal with
ordinance
that.
on this, please?
If I remember the meeting correctly, and I don't know exactly where the trailer is at compared to ordinances, but my understanding was it was being moved to a spot where the ordinances. Basically, the ordinance is still allowed the trailer to be there because they haven't been updated yet, and that's the issue.
Right, correct, correct.
And so and you do have certain areas where you can't have anything older, and other areas where the ordinances haven't been updated yet, so. That is part of the problem.
So this came up in 21. So what are you guys sitting on your hands for? Why hasn't this been addressed already? How hard
Mark
is
and I,
it to
Mark
figure?
and I took over in January. Just give us a little time to, give us a little time. We just got started here and it takes, and now we're working with these two and we're collaborating together and we're all working together. We're trying to get headed in the right direction.
I hope so, because
Yep.
like I said, nobody wants to buy property over here. They drive through this town and it looks like crap. And you know, the reason why people buy a property is so they don't get trailers and stuff like that next to them. So we have all this empty property that we could have people on, but the people that live next door to that property doesn't want to get riffraff on their property.
Well, a lot of our property is zoned R3, which allows for mobile homes.
Do you know who that property owner is?
What, the property owner for what?
Where the trailer was moved?
Where the trailer was moved? I don't know if he bought it from the B-Belts because the B-Belts were selling those lots. So we own our lot, but I don't know if all those are rented over on the other side. I don't
Only
know.
reason I bring that up is maybe it'd be a good conversation to have with them individuals on what they are. It is their property.
If it is their property, well. It's hard to say, I guess.
I talked with him, we had a representative of the owner was upset because we denied a trailer to move in on their property because it was outdated. They'd have to go all through the electrical, but do everything else to make it to come into town. And I got an earful because the town council, this was several years ago, we denied that application. But this trailer house here was just new enough. It was new enough that our regulations does not prevent it from being set up in Shoshoni in the areas it's approved. And the current landowner, that's their choice. They haven't, that's what they want to do with that property. I'd love someone to buy the property and turn it into the housing. That'd just be great. But the current landowner, and the current landowner, if you remember, they
be
did,
following the ordinances
they-
also, though.
they did clean up some of the old trailers that were abandoned
Well, I
there.
mean,
On their
the whole
own
zone
extent.
is not even zoned. It wasn't zoned.
So what you're
Broad
saying is
council
that when
either.
these people buy these properties over
So-
here, they're free to do what they want.
Pardon?
So these new properties that you guys want to sell to landowners and to people to build up the town,
It's all gonna be,
are all those for sale?
they will be sale once we're ready to put them for sale, but they're gonna be all zoned. And they're gonna,
That doesn't currently have any zoning.
Sounds like
And
you
it
have
has-
some work to do.
It hasn't for. But we look at it, it hasn't, it's never been so.
Numerous previous councils.
Understand
on
your,
Sixth Street.
understand your frustration. I can
Where the
understand
trailer
why you're
court is.
upset.
Huh?
I really
Where
do.
the trailer court is.
But I can't make
are
myself deny a permit when it's newer than 1974. So, and it's in an area that allows it. So I don't feel that I have the judgment to say, well, you have an ugly house. I'm not gonna let you move it in there. As long as it's permitted by ordinance and there was no objections voiced to me in any way, I certainly would have listened. I understand your frustration. We have this big old fat stack of ordinances that we need to finish. What the plan was, we've had, how many workshops we had? I don't know, going through with Councilman Zant and everybody and Dimick and everybody. We made all these adjustments. We're gonna make a giant sweep in the ordinances. And that's still hung up in the paperwork phase, I guess. And I understand your frustration. I don't,
So what's the solution? Just buy up the property and let it set?
or update. Finish the update
solution
of
is
the ordinance. I
we
mean,
finish the ordinances. The other piece is I wish you would have been here the day that they had that building permit.
That is the other thing, is that those kinds of transparency things are not happening. So all it says on the agenda is that there's a building permit. It didn't say where it was going or, anything like that. Because I kind of glance at the agendas. And I don't recall there anything being said that the building permit was to move something onto Sixth Street.
right, it said Kenny Keller Mobile Home. That's what the agenda had said.
That could
That's
be the
all-
whole damn town.
That's correct. I understand what you're saying there too.
So unless we stay vigilant and make sure that we come to every single meeting that there's a mobile home being moved into, then how are we supposed to protect ourselves?
Well, you've shed light. on
So the property just goes down because you guys allow stuff like that. So that's not right for us. And then you wonder why nobody will come to town,
We have
live
to,
here.
we have to follow our ordinances. You know that.
Yes.
However, you shed some light on ways we can improve to be a little bit more clear cut and dry. And that agenda, we definitely can improve by saying building permit. In this
Where
area.
it's going or something,
Absolutely,
yeah, because
absolutely. And that's something that we can strive to improve, absolutely. And
It's
we
not a
will,
bad idea. Maybe would that be too much trouble just to add the address mobile on the agenda?
Well, the address,
Yeah.
just a quick phrase on the intent.
Well, it said like mobile home with the address. Then you would have had a clear heads up and.
Well, but having something to say it's going to be moved.
Wow, mobile home permits kinda.
but we don't know if it's gonna be moved in or out.
Right.
You know, if
Right.
it's already in the town,
Right.
so I mean, that one we knew that was in town, but if it's moved from another town, right, we don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
They can paint a great picture up here when they come in for their building permit. That this thing is magnificently beautiful and it's fresh paint and fresh windows, and then it comes here and looks like a pile of trash, but. On the other side of that, we'll continue to work on our ordinances being.
All right.
And that will
And then-
include a
Like I
20.
said, I'm just super disappointed because it's just frustrating.
I absolutely understand your frustration, 100%.
The other thing is that who's maintaining the website because it's not up to date? Anybody?
What?
Nobody?
Website's not up to date.
There's more on that website than was ever on that website. What,
So do we have two websites now?
Nope.
Okay, well, all of the council people are not the right.
okay,
council people.
that needs to be changed and updated.
Oh,
I thought you were
okay.
talking about the content.
Yeah,
there.
some of that's not up to date. So anyways, all right. Okay, well,
That's an easy
thank you.
fix.
Thank you for
Thank
addressing your
you.
concerns.
Have any other communications from citizens? Anybody online? Consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes, March 25th, 2025 workshop? March 25th, regular meeting, or both work. Well, April 1st workshop.
I move we approve the minutes from the March 25th, 2025 workshop, March 25th, 2025
I'll second it.
meeting, and the April 1st, 2025 workshop.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilman Hartke. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed the same. Motion passed all the affirmative. Motion to approve the bills, March 26, 2025, March 8th, 2025. A motion to approve.
Move we approve the bills.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Stetler, second by Councilman Whitener. Any further discussion?
I have one Mike Quiver. 23,438. Clean cut ruts and vacuum debris. We have a line with stuff in it
What?
on Clean Pipe LLC. Clean cut ruts and vacuum debris.
What number?
That was down by the Lucky Five,
The,
was it?
Post office.
post office,
Well, post office, yeah.
that line was, it was silted in with sand.
Okay.
We were looking to see where that sand was coming from. And so, from the old connections, there's a lot of ruts going into it. So that's, the sand is pushing, coming through the ruts too. It was pretty well, like that deep. And it was, plugging up the post office. We had him plugged up for, he was without, a toiletries there for about a week.
Okay.
He didn't mind because he was using the fast lanes, but that was until we got clean pipes out there. That was when it was colder. As soon as it warmed up, so we went and cleaned that line up.
Okay.
But that was the problem. That line has never been replaced.
So is it still on?
Yeah, it's still
orange?
got Orangeburg and
Okay.
clay top pipe. It's in kind of bad shape. I have a video of it.
Okay.
You want to look at it?
Is it with you?
Any others? Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed the same. Motion pass all in the affirmative. Liquor license, Fast Lane is the first one.
So this is just a renewal of,
Correct.
and so is the, they're both just
Or five,
55.
one of the two.
Lucky 5, Lucky 7, Lucky 5,
Lucky 8,
Lucky Days.
not so lucky 5.
Doesn't sound lucky, but yeah. Lucky 5, there you go.
It's been that name since the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion for fast lanes for their liquor license.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Hartkey, second by Councilman Stetler to approve the liquor license for the Fast Lane, Any further discussions?
I seconded it.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I
you're
thought.
okay. Councilman Whitener seconded.
It's kind of a tie and he got me.
Okay.
Wasn't okay.
I heard Councilman Stetler. That's why.
Such a good ear on that side.
Yep, he's closest. Well,
See, and I heard him, so.
any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, the same, motion passed, all affirmative. Next liquor license is for the Lucky 5. Got a motion to approve.
We approved the liquor license for Lucky Pie.
Councilman Stetler moved to approve the liquor license
I'll
for
second it.
the Lucky Pie, second by Councilwoman Hardkey. Any further discussion?
So these permits, are these state permits, the forms, is that where they come from? It's not our permit or?
State
It's
State.
liquor division.
But if they owe any taxes or anything like that, it won't be approved.
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed the same, motion passed, all in the affirmative. Have no other appearances by citizens, business license, for all solar.
I move we approve the business license.
Second.
Been moved by Councilman Stelling, second by Councilman Ordain to approve the business license for all solar. Any further discussion?
I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Yeah, and Casper Mills area.
On page 2, it explains it.
I think that's. It's way on there.
It's them, everyone, it's about.
Those are old things. It should be on your screen.
Clear at the bottom.
Yeah, keep going past the liquor. Keep going. Keep going.
Forgive me, that's it just says solar sales and installation. They're based out of
Casper.
Casper.
Keep going. Almost there.
Arms.
It'll be right after that.
I don't, it stops. Sorry. Any further discussion?
So they're just still be operating on the mills and they're just coming here to.
If they come in and do an yeah,
Also,
okay, no, I didn't. As they come in and do an installation. I have a question from the audience.
I guess I didn't hear what type of business it is.
Solar installation. John, if you'd like to come and speak come up to the microphone, please. Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, okay. But yeah,
Have we, do we know if the power company has any current dealings with them? By chance, just curious,
Mm-mm.
no? I'd imagine that's their idea, right? To help your house go solar. Backfeed the power company. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Said we are a local plumbing company located Casper Mills area, looking to branch out to neighboring towns. Please reach out to us via phone or email for more information. Thank you.
Chris, do you know if they happen to have a website or anything?
They do. I just looked it up.
I need that.
Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, pose the same. Motion passed, all in the affirmative. business license for Sage Country Acres. Home construction remodel, they're out of Pavilion, located in Pavilion.
Do they have any projects that they're working or planned for?
They have nothing in their comments.
So
We don't know. That would, this license would give them the ability to do that.
we might have some open lots here soon.
Hopefully.
So I move that we approve.
Been moved by Councilman Nordine that we approve the
I'll
building.
second it.
And been second by Councilwoman Hartke that we approve the business license for Sage Country Acres. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Go down to new business. Real estate, I believe Tammy, you brought this up.
I just think that we really need to look at a new real estate agent. I mean, we need to have some come forward and see what they can offer. We need to get going here. We have been setting for how long now with nothing?
We could put out a request for some of the others. We are not under any contract at this time.
Right.
And so we could.
Because I know back behind me, there was like 4 different realtors and all that stuff's been sold. On Pine
Mhm.
and Maple, all that's been sold. It's just other stuff moves in town, but our stuff.
Well, it's also far more difficult to sell. You know, when we're selling, it doesn't fit the normal, and else you put it up for auction, and then we're able to sell relatively easy. But we have to put, because it's the city's money, we can't. Okay, like I can go out and negotiate a sale and come up with something that I may feel that's a legit offer. I bring it to the council, and as a governing body, we agree if it's a good deal or not. And we got to look out for public interest if we're doing it right. And so that it is a little harder to do that, but when we put things out for auction, we sold
I
them.
don't know,
Yeah, I
I've
don't,
got people coming to me saying they have come and tried to buy property over here and nobody will talk to them.
never came to talk to me. I talked
But
to
you're not the
everybody.
town realtor.
No, but if they called Dave, I know he would be talking to him. You know, I'm helping selling other land all around without a realtor. People have called me and I send them to a landowner that I know that has land per se.
I just think we should try a new realtor.
Well, I'm not disagreeing that we shouldn't look at other options.
I agree with Tammy. So I make a motion that we move forward on a new realtor.
And I'll second it.
Been moved by Councilman Whitener, second by Councilwoman Hartke, that we seek another realtor discussion.
I like Dave, I really do. But we're not selling anything. I know there's other hurdles and hoops over private sale, but it's not going well. A lot of the advertisements I never even saw. But not that I'm everywhere or see everything, but I don't know if a couple times ago, I don't think anybody saw the advertise. I don't know where it was at. I think there was a blip in the paper or something, but which is following the law, but I feel like the realtor should be promoting it. I know that even if it's through auction, but they're the realtor, they're getting a percentage. I don't know, and I really do like Dave, but I don't feel like whatever's going on, it's not working.
Well, yeah, I don't agree that we shouldn't look at other options. There's also some new realtor laws that are in effect was it July that went into effect? We have some new realtor laws, national laws on how realtors do business. And that may be worth our time investigating that also. But it's not the standard way I grew up where you have a landowner has a realtor and you pay all the fees. Lots of times now the buyer is paying the fees. That's new real estate law that's recently came in there. So yeah, I don't see why we don't look at something, see if we can't do something.
Okay.
But we still have someone on the hook for the old town hall property. Working. So we're still kind of obligated with him on that. Nothing else we have online right now.
And it's Dave you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Under contract on that, then that's fine, but everything.
Oh, no, we're negotiating,
Right.
we're working things.
I would hate
things
to
out.
throw another monkey wrench into that deal and quarter the deal,
Oh,
so
Well, that would stay with.
on that deal.
yeah, he's
Right.
worked and earned that one.
Right,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
fine,
yeah.
but for sure. Everything else, it's.
But
time to
it's,
move
You know,
forward.
one of the things where the A2AR group is seeking sort of some advice from an upper tier realtor. We hope to get some information to look at our marketing strategy on our acreage to our subdivision to the west. That's one of the things we're working towards. Who Councilman Nordine is the chairperson.
All right,
Okay.
cast our vote.
Any further discussion?
I don't have any.
No further discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Pose the same. Motion passed all in the affirmative. Travel reimbursement policy, I believe, Tam, you brought that.
I put this together. It wasn't happening. And it's not,
We passed this down for.
I gave them one already.
Oh, okay. Why didn't
I just didn't give you one.
Why didn't I receive one?
I got it when I sat down here tonight, if that helps.
Do you have any extra, Tammy?
Huh?
Do you have any extra?
Thanks, go.
See yours.
I'll rank up to you.
It's just most places, they have policies for travel and we already have one for credit card. I just feel this just kind of covers all of us.
I know the college, of course, we have a travel policy and other businesses have travel policies as well. I'd be very happy to take this proposal, compare it to what we do at the college. Maybe, with your company that you work for, and just kind of go over it and just see kind of where maybe some things we could improve, maybe things just to give it a good fair, good review.
Right.
And I know at the at the college, we do a lot with the IRS. I mean, it's their rates. the GSA and the IR, I'm not sure how they relate to each other, but I know people at the college who would, you know, so I could do some questions with that as well. And but I think we all could do that and maybe come together to help put something like this together.
Yeah, this was just kind of just putting it out there. Yeah.
And you know, like we talked about before, I mean, I think it's a good idea, a good
Mhm.
policy. How we implement that, what we do, I think that's some good discussions to have, you
Right,
know, and just, but I think what you're trying to do, and I absolutely agree with it, is just, it's the transparency of what's going on.
right.
And also the transparency, but then also information about what's happening. You know,
Right.
and I think that's a good thing too, good communication.
Right.
The GSA is that, my understanding is that,
That's government rate.
right, but what does the abbreviation mean?
General Service Administration.
Generals, I wasn't sure what that
Mark
abbreviation.
should have known that
I knew it was the governing, but I just wasn't sure what that abbreviation.
Yeah,
Which is, I believe the current rate is what, 71 cents a mile or something? like that? 70?
70.
Close.
It's close.
I know from my company, we pay 52 cents a mile. For oil field.
Well, some of the
So-
other towns I looked up were 45 and 40 and
Yeah, but I think that's for when you're using your vehicles on your own accord. Like when I was with the state, like we were going to training, we got a government vehicle. We would drive, they don't care, you know, whatever. But then if we had a government vehicle and drove our own vehicle, they would reimburse us at a lower rate versus if we didn't have a vehicle and we had to drive a personal vehicle. So it was,
Well,
it depended on the situation, circumstances.
2019, I was getting $1 a mile, who I work for.
we pay 52 cents.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of all over the gamut, but I just know like state of Wyoming, you know, was if you didn't have a vehicle, then you got whatever the GSA rate was from A&I set that rate, you know, Administration and Information Service for the state. But if there was times that I wanted to do personal stuff when I traveled down to Cheyenne that I couldn't do in a patrol car. So I would drive my own personal car. And when I would send reimbursement, they would kick me down to a lower rate than the standard rate because I had the option. That was my choice to drive my personal car for personal reasons. So they still reimbursed me. They just didn't give me the same reimbursement because I didn't have that vehicle. So it's just dependent on the circumstance, but obviously when I drove a company vehicle, didn't matter, but it's
I don't know how Du Bois or Lander addresses that because they both have vehicles.
I think this is awesome that you put together. Thank you for taking the time.
it's just transparency for everybody.
And a
Everybody's
written
covered.
plan that we agreed upon. I like the idea of having a policy in place.
And it's we do a travel request and then we do a travel voucher. And it's always interesting on the travel voucher, you know, how, because we always have questions about, well, I traveled on this day and I returned on to, and I traveled on this day from, and what do we do on that as far as pay goes and mileage? I mean, just, there's just some nuances in there that just, if we get a common understanding and spelled out, I just think it's nice. It's a good thing. Everybody knows, you know. Yeah.
The school district, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But you have to have all travel pre-approved.
Oh, well,
And it's a pain because if something spurs up.
Yeah, what if something
You know,
pops
I
up
mean,
where
it's
someone's gotta
such
do
a
something
pain.
right
So in
now?
that aspect. You know, I don't like that piece of that personally, because you just don't know.
But you gotta have some leeway, because I mean, something can come up. I mean, when I have a government vehicle, like if something comes up, I get a meeting tomorrow. You know, I got a government vehicle, I got a town vehicle so I can drive, but when you're talking reimbursement, that's a completely different category than traveling for work in a work vehicle.
Right.
And there's some big nuance differences between the college and the real world government. They're not the same.
Well, you know, all travel requests are not the same.
Right.
I mean, so there's specific ones for specific events that
Right.
get done. And then we also have, we use blanket travel requests. So that would be something, you know, for I use that for local travel. We have people, I have staff, faculty in Lander. I have a blanket travel request that I would use to then travel to Lander. Don't get any on when I do that, I get mileage, but I don't get meals. I mean, it's that sort of thing. Which is too bad because there's a few things I'd really like to get paid for down there.
Better places to eat over there.
But those are yeah.
I guess just from my perspective, I mean, whenever we get reimbursed, like if I go out and I buy someone our credit card and I get the town reimbursed, I have to provide all this stuff because it's taxpayer money that's coming back to me versus just going, it's not so much just going to travel. It's, when I was the clerk, it was just accountability, making sure you had all that during an audit, that you had all the paperwork in line. And I thought we had a travel policy, but we didn't. But we do have a credit card policy, which I think we were kind of using as our de facto travel policy. Is I guess kind of what we've learned when the question was asked and there wasn't one. So
We absolutely need
just for
to,
my 2 cents.
we absolutely need to have one in place to protect everybody and just be transparent. I don't disagree at all.
So I think if we all maybe look at it, come back with comments next meeting, that would be, are we okay with that?
Sure.
So can we say that we're gonna make a motion to,
Implement a travel policy
yeah,
or.
We don't need to do that now. We need to.
Move we table the travel reimbursement policy until our next regular meeting.
Correct, that's all we need to do.
okay.
I second.
The Wind River Visitors Council,
Do we want to vote on that?
we don't need to. We just said we're gonna,
Vote on the motion in the second.
did we have a motion in a second?
I move to table it until our next regular meeting and Jordan seconded it.
Okay, been moved by Councilman Still, second by Councilman Whitener that we table the travel reimbursement policy and discuss it in our next meeting. Any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same, motion passed on the affirmative. Wind River Visitors Council was unable to attend this meeting today. Did everybody review the budget that I emailed you?
I didn't get that.
Either.
I'll send it to you. I just got it last, Friday, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking,
Okay. Thought I sent it up. Anyway, so we will try to schedule this the next meeting. Kim,
Is that what we decided or the May?
I think she requested the next meeting. We can reach to schedule it if that fits everybody's. There's no need for us to rush. I want to make sure you get a chance to review the documents. And so when they come, we're educated on what is going, so what does the council feel?
So I apologize why are we looking at this?
Okay, they are a joint powers board.
Yeah.
Which we are a part of. By their bylaws, they have to present their budget to us every year, and we have to, every party, a part of that joint powers group has to approve, which is all the municipalities and the county excluding Pavilion. So
Why are they excluded?
that's, it happened in 1983. I wasn't around when they did it. Or it might have been 89. We were 83, yeah, okay. Visitor council might have been in the 90s, but I wasn't involved with that. That's my question also. The mayor pavilion has asked me that same question. But the advantage, that's where we get our TAD money. But sometimes in the past, there's been definitely some budget issues where it's questionable if they were following their charter. And it brought up questions. The budget has to be approved unanimously by every joint power member.
What do you mean by that? So,
All right, so we have to pass it by a majority. All right, but he says unanimous, that's Du Bois, Riverton, Lander, the commissioners, Hudson, us.
Yeah,
Each one has to pass it. But we don't have to have a 5-0 vote. If
No.
it's a 3-2 vote, that means we passed it.
so unanimous is just.
Unanimous is every single one of them.
every one of them, every one of the joint powers.
And they just gotta present it and we look over it, cause it's Fremont County tax dollars.
Yeah.
And so with the joint powers agreement,
And a few years ago, they spent $300,000 without any authorization.
Essentially making sure they're not too loose.
And they spent their money wisely. That wasn't.
they do
the
a
case.
pretty good job, and Helen shows up and puts on a nice presentation typically, and then explains everything, and
But that's what it's for, just to make sure they're not.
we're just oversight.
Correct.
If there's something that you see that doesn't look right, it's your duty to say something. Otherwise, it's a formality.
So
If
if you
that
see,
helps.
but as they're not elected officials, if there's something wrong with their budget. Yes, we are the elected officials. They are not. So if they mess that up and we approve it, falls on us. So the elected officials are the ones that are. But if you have a joint powers board, that's why it's important if you have a board out there that they're,
Appointed board.
if you have an appointed board out there, that they're representing what you're believing, that if money's involved, they're spending it appropriately. And, and that they follow their guidelines anyway, but typically they do a real good job.
They get the money off lodging tax and grants and things.
And
And the
they,
money's to be used to bring more tourism to
Promotion.
yes,
to Fremont County.
and they have,
Events and things.
Helen did bring up to me, they have some leftover funding. And the town of Shoshone may get some maybe 3 signs. They've been calling wayfaring signs that leads them to one point or another that, we'd have to, we could discuss where we would like those signage, us as a council, a governing body together. And sort of get together and figure out where, they'd be appropriate, and we can talk about that. And I'm sure when she comes here, she was gonna touch bases on that, and it'll probably be next year money, before we get to see anything, but that's something in the works. But Riverton's got a bunch, and Riverton, Lander, and Du Bois is where most of that's going towards.
I think next meeting is fine if she's available.
Okay, next meeting then, Kim?
Okay,
Well.
I'll touch base with her and make sure that's gonna work for her.
Okay, very good.
And maybe we could fire that off in an email to them.
Yeah, I'll get it to you. I thought I
You
did.
keep
Maybe I
saying-
forget to hit
I
send.
don't know if you
I
do it,
didn't
but
get it either.
you keep saying, well, I
You
sent
don't
that
have
out.
it? I'll forward mine right now.
And the only guy who did get one was Councilman Nordine, and it was.
Did you
spam.
get one?
No.
Oh, no, that's spam.
Oh, by the way, complete bunny trail, side note. I sent an email immediately to my IT people during the council meeting last time. And they basically told me to, just don't do anything, come in the morning, we'll be able to take care of it then. And so they did to make a very long story short, they did a complete scan of my laptop, and there was no infection whatsoever.
Oh,
So
Good.
I was
worried for
Dodge
you.
the bullet.
I was totally happy with that. So anyway, I changed my password.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you if you want. No, I won't.
Yeah. If we have nothing else on that, we move forward. Department head report, Public Works. Mike, what do you have for us tonight?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice President, council members. I have an update on the work that has taken place up below the tank at well number 5. The check valve and bypass has been installed on the main water line below the tank. It's a valve cluster. At well number 5, all the yard piping has been completed. The piping has been connected to the water main. And it has also been connected to the pitless adapter on the wellhead. Yeah, we have that area backfilled and compacted to about 1 foot below grade. In some places, 2 foot below grade. We're waiting on the electricians to come in and lay their conduit so that they can continue on with bringing in some material to build the pad where the well house will sit. Well, the contractor is going to move to well number 4 once he's done with the pad at well number 5. And he'll begin demo there. That's all wait for the well houses to arrive. But I seen an email that they didn't get the colors,
Didn't what?
get the colors. Colors.
They didn't?
I seen the Kyle's email.
We had a bunch of those emails going back and
Well,
forth.
they're supposed to email them in February.
Ah,
I don't know. I'll talk with Kyle tomorrow. Today we had a pre-bid meeting on the Trailhead project. Down here, we had 2 contractors in attendance. The bid opening for this project will be next Tuesday, April 15th, 10 o'clock here at Town Hall. On our Tank Road project, next Monday, we'll have a meeting up on site with the contractors and the engineers. The engineers will start staking a road for Monday, while the contractor is going to start mobilizing on Monday. So that will take place.
Out of the wells?
Yeah, the road that goes to the tank.
Okay.
They're going to widen that road. Put some road base culverts in. Because it's last time when I had last year when I had the tank cleaners come in, I had to pay extra because they couldn't get their unit up to the tank because of that road in one spot where it's all rock. Their trailer hung up on it. So we couldn't get through there, so they had to back all the way back down and then move in on just their truck. They had to carry everything on one truck. They couldn't pick their trailer. And that was an extra for we had to pay for that. So with this road project, it should widen it where everybody should be able to get in there then. It's a tough spot where it got stuck.
How many culverts are they putting in? Just keep it.
I think they're gonna do 2 culverts. 2 spots is what I see. Yeah, there's be one right there past well 6, and then there's another one just above it before you hit that curve to go toward the tank. I think there's two culverts. I think we'll put and Mike Letcher, he's gonna attend the rural water spring conference next week. He's working on his lagoon test. I think he applied yesterday for the test. He's gonna try to take it down there on Friday. I'll be attending just the pre-conferences, the free part of 4 hours. I'll be studying on nitrates and PFAS. That's for my level 1 license. It's still 5 hours short. I'll get 4 hours next week. I'll get the other hour somewhere. Before December. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Any question?
Yeah, I have one. Water meters. The 10. meters and pits.
Andrew hasn't gotten back to me yet on the prices.
Okay.
I emailed him, I've left him 2 voicemails. And he hasn't turned my call yet.
Okay.
But Thursday, I'll get that to you guys.
A couple of meetings ago, you talked about looking at grading, and so grading some roads. If you
What?
remember, a couple of meetings ago, you had mentioned road grading and kind of freshen roads up, some roads.
Yeah,
So how'd that go? Was that project done? Did you do anything? Were you able to do anything out north of town?
no, Bart got called out to do some other work, so he's gonna fix those ones next year. Because we're still trying to get the one on in the town too.
But
Widen with that one.
you graded the one over here on Third, didn't you?
I think they've graded just about everything in
Yeah.
town from what I've seen.
No, I know he's been pretty busy on it. Then the grader started showing some codes. So he had to try to figure out what the codes are, so he could make them go away. There's still one on there that. I think it's that pure water separator. I told him to drain that. And see if we can get that code to disappear.
Just do what I do with my car, just unplug the battery and plug it back in.
But now we're also probably at a point where no moisture.
Works every time, right?
No moisture, no grading.
It'll get there. It's still, we'll get some more.
Well, I need a water truck.
Till we get a little more rain or a little snow that
It's
melts.
still kind of damp underneath. But it'll dry out fast.
Yeah.
Get a little bit of
Couple
heat.
more days of wind, it'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get some heat on it. You know, I'll be going.
Oh, speaking of, what's the plan for restarting our sprinklers? Last year we got a really late start and it burned our grass.
The what?
Our grass, we got a really late start because Bart didn't want to turn the sprinklers on, and we got a really late start, and we had really burned grass all year. We never could get it up.
Okay, I'll have
Plaza.
turn them on.
There's no issues with the lines freezing at this point, so I think we need to get that water going.
Okay, yeah, I'll have bucket warning.
Although, the last weekend in April in 2017, it snowed a foot.
True. It could, I mean, it could.
But it melted in 2 days.
We shouldn't have a freeze.
I run the sprinklers and it won't freeze and there won't be no snow.
It's a good insulator.
Yeah.
The snow, yeah.
Yeah, keep it warm. That's close.
And then it melts, you know.
Well,
Oh, and then the other question I had for you. The grass up front that we had ordered, when's that? Do we have an idea when that's coming? The sod for the landscaping?
the sod and that,
Yeah,
that was gonna be on my budget item too. That's gonna be 6,000 something
yeah, you have it for this year.
for this year.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
that's what I was asking. If-
I'll have Bart finish that side too. I
we
think
were
he
gonna do
just
it last
needs to do
fall
that
at
side.
the time, yeah.
I
Okay.
thought it was May. What, this year, wasn't it May? I thought,
Yeah, I can order it as soon as Bart gets his other side done. Gets that. I think he just has to fix a few controls. That way we'll, then I'll order it.
Okay. I just didn't remind you on that.
Yeah.
But Mike, did you talk anything about some of the surplus equipment that,
Yeah, Bart got me a list.
okay,
I just, got it today. But I'll get it all typed up and give it to you. Yeah. There's got quite a bit of it.
yeah.
Quite a bit of junk.
one man's trunk, another man's treasure?
Yeah. I hope.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, Mike. Uh, Mark, you have anything you would like to share with us?
Um, Joe, my wife, has been having surgery, so I haven't been able to attend the A2A things, so I wish I had tons of things and good news to share with you. I don't, but I do believe, Mr. Ray, you had some comments that you're on A2A.
Yeah, we did finally, get some information. We were supposed to get some from the gas company today. The power company is looking at an alternative that we think that'll work. We're looking at, way we can start getting some lots for sale earlier, or, and there again, it's gonna be like eating an elephant one bite at a time. So we're trying to get our first bite set up. So we're working towards that. So I think the good thing is the team we got working together is, pretty talented and then dedicated to working, trying to solve some problems. It's I think when this gets done, I'd really like to keep this committee together instead of just for this one project, that bringing in to help us move forward with economic development and with land sales and working on this. They're working very good at that. So we're sort of gaining on that, the A2A. We only have a few more weeks before our 10 weeks is done. But we've had roadblocks on getting our all the information we needed from engineers. We just finally got a report from HDR. They were about 4 or 5 weeks behind schedule each, and finally got that. And gas company should have something to us yet this week, and that gives us a good idea of what we're looking at for moving forward on that. But anyway, that's been a good group.
Yeah, and the Wyoming Business Council has done a really nice job of stepping in to help prod some groups to get their estimates and things to us. So we really appreciate what the Wyoming Business Council is doing.
Yeah. Patrick Edwards, our regional director of Wyoming Business Council, reached out and poked some, like HDR in the ribs. Said, hey, these guys are waiting for this stuff. And he also did the same thing with the gas company. So
they responded quickly. We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. And I sure hope your lovely wife continues her recovery and gets all better.
She's doing good, and she's gonna make it worse on Friday when she gets the second eye done, So she had the knee and the right and the left eye done. So she's becoming a new woman.
Ironic.
Now she's gonna actually see it and go, what did I do?
Yeah, I wouldn't let her get her eyes fixed if I were you. Just little advice.
What was I thinking, Yeah.
Jordan, do you have something you'd like to share with us?
The only thing I had some community want to know about the sidewalk with YDOT. If we've heard anything on that piece.
So, I think you weren't at the house meeting, but I addressed that I'll provide updates as part of my police, and I'll go into, grant stuff. The sidewalk's pretty straightforward. It's just extending the sidewalk straight out.
Well, they're concerned because it's going through their yard, 2 different people. Or property per se.
It's not going through anybody's yard, it's going through the right of way of the state of Wyoming.
Well,
To be clear.
One guy has, it's been his yard for how many ever years, and he just says nobody's contacted him. It's his driveway into the house. And
Everyone that's been affected has been contacted and signed an agreement to mitigate.
maybe he has, and I'm speaking out of turn.
Okay, I was gonna say, because everyone's been contacted. That's
I could be
effective.
misunderstanding the tone, but I was just trying to
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm just saying
figure
that,
out that piece is where I think his concern was rerouting his daily parking, etc., pulling into his garage, so on and so forth.
no, and that they actually see, that's where They actually, the engineer actually talked to him on the preliminary design phase. To try and take into account to make improvements to his existing.
Okay.
And we don't have a final design.
Okay.
So once we have a final
Maybe
design,
that's what he's.
yeah,
looking
so we're not at the stage of having a final design. So if that's what
Okay.
they're asking, we don't quite have that yet.
Okay.
But the preliminary engineering design was to take into account his existing because it has a lot of paved already. And then trying to make that work with that hump and actually improve. And they talked to him and they're actually gonna do some improvements with some existing not concrete, but asphalt. And they're going to be able to actually add asphalt to renew his asphalt with the project and actually improve his access.
Okay.
So specifically him, but everyone else has been, that would actually be affected by having to go on their property, to make that work, has been notified and they actually signed the acknowledgement of that. If anything, it's going to improve their property.
Well, maybe they're just getting excited and wondering when it's gonna start.
And these TAP projects, like remember that took 2.5 years from start till
Finish.
construction.
Yeah.
And
This is
it's
state's project, yeah.
it's long, so we
Well,
probably won't go into
thanks.
construction, maybe possibly till next year.
Okay.
But we should have the plans this year. So that's what I would say. If anyone asks, it's just a straightforward going straight out, but anyone affected has been contacted. And if they have any questions on where we at with the designs, the engineer is not
Finished.
with the final design phase.
Okay.
And once we have that will be published and we'll have it on the website. We'll probably have put it up somewhere so everybody can look at it
Absolutely.
and comment on it. I'm sure, I think.
We may even have a meeting with. the
And I was gonna
state
say, we might
project.
actually have a
meeting.
public hearing meeting just to
May have one,
go over stuff.
Okay.
So it's coming.
Just.
but it's a wide off
I said,
project.
I'd follow up.
Yeah, it's a wide off project. Yep. Anything else?
Oh my God.
Okay. Tammy,
Nope, I think I caused enough hate and discontent today.
Jake, do you have something you'd like to add?
Well, it was brought to my attention. Well, everybody, I'm sure noticed that sometimes during our workshops, we've been losing civility, some rudeness, some butting heads and foul language. As a governing body of a town, for God's sake, we need to clean it up and act professional, and we all need to work together to help each other do that. Tonight I thought we had some really good back and forth. I would really love to see if we can all work together to keep that same level into the workshops and this budget. I know it's very stressful, but people have been complaining about some language and things. So if we can have a little civility and clean it up. And it's a good letter. That's how I interpreted it.
Okay,
That was my understanding. I don't know if there's a problem that I'm not aware of, but I appreciated the deal.
very good. It talk about a few things there again on the economic front and we're still working on the plumbing cardiopulmonary services, project. We're still moving along and plumbing cardiopulmonary is doing everything they need to do on the financial end of things and working on their business plan and working with the Wyoming Business Council on that. That's still moving forward. We're doing whatever we can to make sure that comes along. I forgot to make the phone call. I was told that cafe sold on the west end of town. I think people look like they were doing inspections, so at least it went that far, an offer and it looked like there was people, Mike reported that to me also, but I had actually someone call looking to purchase the motel on the other end of town. And they said, well, the cafe been just sold. So I hadn't heard that from a realtor and I was gonna call Dan and confirm that today and I got busy and didn't do that. Where they're at, so that would be great news if they I know the gentleman that called me about 3 weeks ago-ish was, said he was an entrepreneur. And driving by and seeing the for sale sign, he said he owns several restaurants in Wildman and he's very interested in the restaurant here in Shoshoni. And so I gave him numbers who we should contact, and that was the last I heard of. But anyway, that's what I had a gentleman call, interested in buying the motel. So there again, I gave him the number of who to contact. And on that, and so I don't know how that's gonna develop, but it's, I did pass that on. So that would be, both those would sell and open up and that'd be really a positive thing. And then I had a call today from a young lady that graduated Shoshoni in 1975, and her and her class are looking at their 50th anniversary, and they wanted to do it during the Shoshoni's, Hot Summer Nights Festival. So I thought that was, kudos for having that here, because they want to have their event during that event. I thought that was real good. I can't think of anything else I should talk about, so. That being said, can I have
I'll make the
a
motion.
motion? Yes, to adjourn.
Second.
And I have a second. Do we have any further discussion? None being, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Hold same motion passed, all the affirmative, 8:25.